Hi there guys, Neil at Italia Autos here, and we are back with the Fiat Coupe again this week, just sort of mopping up a few jobs. But believe it or not, a week later, I'm still waiting for the alloy wheels and I'm still waiting for the brake pads, which isn't a problem because I've got plenty of other stuff to crack on with. But I was hoping to have it off the ramp, but I did forget to mention one thing in the first few videos, and the fact that there is no clutch pedal in the car, so we need to find out why that isn't working. So we're just going to jump into it, check the slave cylinder out, change that. I have got a spare if needed. It probably is that. Worst case scenario is the clutch plate's giving up. So fingers crossed, it is just the clutch slave cylinder. So we're going to get that done in this video, along with a few other bits and bobs. Let's pull out the tray. And there's what, 3 full bolts to undo now. And voila, one clutch slave cylinder. As you can see, it started to fall apart, so I think this probably could be the culprit. But by the time we fit a new one, bleed it up, see if we've got any other leaks anywhere, we should be able to get to the bottom of the problem. So first thing we need to do is remove that circlip down there. We've got a flexi wire down there, so hopefully it should come out. And fingers crossed it's not all rusted into position so we can get it out nice and easily. And of course it was welded into position, so here I am fighting with a little screwdriver, hammering it, trying to loosen it off, so I can then get my circlip pliers in there. And of course, once you've hit it a few times with a hammer, the clip rotates round, so you can no longer get your circlip pliers in there. So you then have to use another few different tools to get it into position. This is going to be well and truly seized. Yep. Right, so that is well and truly stuck. I've tried for a few minutes to get that off, and there's just not enough access to get any heat into it, so I need to try and remove the mount. There should be 3 13mm nuts holding it on. You've got 1, 2, and then a third one down the back here. So let's see if we can get them undone. And then pop over there. We're going to lose some fluid out of it, but hey ho. There we go. Oh, I didn't think that was going to come out then, but it did. Ta-da! Right, I'll go and bolt that back on the car now. I will put some lube inside there, clean it all up, so fingers crossed it doesn't seize again. And then we'll stick the slave in. When you plan to do something, you get it all the hard work done, it doesn't go your way. You go to fit the new part, and it's the wrong chuffing one again. So this is getting really annoying. Not the customer's fault, because he's ordered it off Euro Car Parts and whatever. But it's just frustrating. I wanted to get this done and sort of up and running today, but jump cut to me receiving a correct slave cylinder. Right, we are now at the next day. Fingers crossed this is the correct one that I've ordered. And yes, it is the correct one, but I'm just dropping parts everywhere. So here it is, all the correct one now. So let's just put this together and then we can get it in the hole and get it fitted. That was easy enough to do. I'm assuming that all the fluid had leaked out of this because literally none has come out of it. So now that's done. So that's low. So you can see the fluid's leaked out of that. Right, now it's time to get the clutch bled. Some of the eagle-eyed viewers will notice I have changed my brake bleeder. I now have a different type of forced brake bleeder kit. So we're going to pump this up, get some pressure into it, and then open the valve, and fingers crossed it will all be good. Nothing as of yet. I'll pump that pedal, see if we can get it working a bit more. That's better, we're getting a bit of bite in that now. There you go, you can hear that coming through. And you can see it too. Right, now let's check to see if that clutch is fine. Yeah, we've got a clutch pedal now. Just bleeding the rest of the brakes now. As you can see, the fluid was rather brown. Right, now Monday morning. On Friday, I finished off putting all the brakes in. I put the new wheels on, and I can't remember what else I did. I did some other stuff, but yeah, it's all on the ground now. I've put nearly 40 quid's worth of fuel in it. Christ, it's getting expensive again for fuel. So now, I'll show you the wheels and that's about it, and we'll see if it'll run better now. I've put some fuel in it, and hopefully we can run it up to temperature, bleed the cooling system. I've bled the brakes, that was the other thing I've done, and changed all the brake fluid, so that should be all good to go now. So fingers crossed, we have finished this first stage now, so it can go off the paint. Customer can drive it around a bit, we can get it MOT'd, and then we can get it back in to do whatever else he's going to need doing. I've already told him that he's going to need some brake pipes on it, and some other bits and bobs doing on it before the MOT, but at least we want to make sure it runs and drives. There's no point spending what could essentially be 15 grand on doing the bare essentials to get it restored when we don't know how good the engine is. So that's why I've done the bare minimum, so it can be driven, it can be MOT'd, plus the brake pipes hopefully, and then we can wriggle out all the other little faults it's going to have on it, which is probably going to be plenty, but at least the bodywork's going to get done. So the next time you see it after today, fingers crossed, it should be all lovely and painted. So alloy wheels, they're not in bad condition. He's put some Kumo tyres on it, which are perfectly fine. I use those on the Jeep Kumo tyres. They're a pretty good brand, and they last long and grip well in the rain. Nothing else to report. It's got brakes on it. It's got suspension on it now. So let's just see if we can get it started. I have taken all the fuel out of the car now. Let's put it all back together and see if it'll start now. We have a problem. The fuel pump has decided it's working, but the car doesn't want to give it power by the look of it. So I'll give up. It was working, I think, because we've started it, we've had it in here, unless it was just using the fuel, which was in the fuel lines when we started it in here before, and that's why it was cutting out. So yeah, more problems. So that was luckily quite an easy one to fix. The connector for the fuel pump wasn't touching the pins on the pump itself, so I've had a tweak of them and now they're touching a bit better, so fingers crossed it will start now. Right, fingers crossed. Well, it hasn't cut out yet. Sounds okay actually, a little bit of an exhaust noise coming from the front there, so it might want a new exhaust pipe on it. Well, it revs, it doesn't sound too bad, it hasn't cut out again, so we'll let it warm up for a few minutes, check the oil, check the coolant, and fingers crossed we can get it off the ramp. Righty ho, power steering works, we've got a bit of fuel, no engine warning lights. The airbag warning light is on, but I suspect the reason why is because it's not even plugged in. So yeah, it's had a couple of minutes to warm up now. Oil pressure is up the top there. We've got no coolant temperature yet. We're showing a quarter of fuel. Would you believe that that's nearly 40 pounds worth of fuel that's gone in there, and that's all it's showing. Fingers crossed, touch is okay as well. Seat's okay, brake pedal feels okay as well. We can get out of the unit now. Let's just go around the corner in it, make sure all the suspension's okay. And I've got to order a new phone mount, so this will be bouncing around and falling off and everything, so so far so good. Brakes are fine, they just need to bed in a little bit. Engine sounds fine, it's a little bit tappety, but the hydraulic valves are going to be a little bit dry. we've got a brake light bulb out because every time I put my foot on the brake, the ABS light comes on. Oh, battery light is also flashing at me, so we need to make sure the battery's charging. I reckon this is going to have some electrical gremlins because of the amount of furry things that have been living in the engine bay. So we're probably going to have to find... Yeah, because when I put the indicator on and put my foot on the brake, the battery light flashes and the ABS light comes on. So yeah, it's probably just a case of checking bulbs and making sure the alternator's charging. So let's just take it in and see what happens. Unfortunately, Mr. Alternator isn't working, so we need to have a word with the customer about getting another one of those. That would also explain the brake light and the ABS coming on because there was no battery life left in it. Another day, another dollar. The coupe is now on the ramp. We're waiting for a new alternator to arrive. As you saw in the previous segment, I tested the alternator to see if it was giving a charge off, and it wasn't. I have tested the alternator to make sure it has positive battery power, and it does. So now we need to remove the alternator and see if we can get another one in there. I can't remember when I last did an alternator on these, where I took it at the top or took it at the bottom. I think I took it at the top because the bottom just looks really awkward to get to. So as you can see, it's all the way up there. We can get into under that bottom bolt, but we've got to remove the power steering pump to get it out. So I think I've took it at the top before, so let's get the auxiliary belts off it and see which way we're going to get it out. So up there are two 13mm bolts, which we need to undo to slacken the main auxiliary belt off. There's another pulley in there somewhere, if you can see it. And we need to undo that to get the secondary belt off. There we go, one belt is off. Now my recollection of doing an alternator on these has totally gone. We've got a bolt up top there, which hopefully you can see somewhere there, that we need to get to, but we can't get anything on it because the exhaust gets in the way. So we've probably got to take the exhaust pipe off and then we can get to that and then we'll take it from there. But from underneath here, it does seem easier to do it from underneath, but that does mean we've got to remove the power steering pipe, and I don't really want power steering pump, but don't really want to do that. So I decided the best course of action was to remove it from the top. So for the next few minutes, you'll see me struggling trying to get these 4 bolts off of the aircon compressor. Luckily, the system wasn't gassed up, so I could remove the pipe work and allow me a little bit easier access to get it out. But as you can see in a second or so, it was really difficult to get it out. As you can see here, access was extremely tight. Now if only I'd been bothered to look for the 3 bolts holding that mount on, my life would have been one heck of a lot easier. So instead I struggled for 5 minutes trying to get it out the gap, which was literally just big enough to get it out. Now we have a little bit better access to the alternator. So at least we can get to that bolt there, but we're still going to struggle to get to the one below. So I think I am going to have to take off the exhaust manifold to get to that. So we've now got most of the bolts off. We've got the top bolt off. We've got the 2 bolts for the electrical connections. We just need to get to that one at the bottom now, which is going to be a struggle. Oh, bolt is now out. As you can see, I've had to undo the exhaust just to move it out of the way. Only a couple of millimeters, but that gave me enough room to get into the bolt. And then once you've undone it, you've then got to get it past the oil cooler, which you can just about prise the air duct out of the way and then pull the bolt straight through it. So now we are waiting for the alternator to arrive. But first of all, so now we need to get it back on the ground so we can pull the alternator out from above. Give it a little wiggle with the pry bar to get it off its top mount, and then it's just a case of forwards, backwards for 5 minutes just to wriggle it out of the bottom mount, and eventually it does come free. Really don't have much room down here at all. I know I've done it this way before. I know I have. But Neil, you're trying to cut corners and you can't be bothered to remove those 3 bolts to get that mount off, so you deserve to struggle, you idiot. Almost there. No, don't fall back down there. Even minutes of faffing around, I've finally decided to remove that mount so I can get the alternator out. how sometimes trying to save time by not removing something actually costs you at least 10 minutes of your day. Rather than all that struggling, I should have just done that in the first place. One alternator out. Should have really just taken that mount off first, but you know, you think it's going to fit through there, it won't take much, so yeah, learn for next time. What I should have done is gone to watch the video where I actually changed one and filmed it a few years ago. And I should subscribe to myself, shouldn't I really? Like you should subscribe to me if you haven't done so already. Right, new alternator has arrived, so we now need to fight to get that back into place. Fingers crossed it shouldn't take much doing, because we remove that mount this time. A little bit of a challenge, but we finally got this bolt on. Last bolt to do up on the alternator now, and then we can work on putting the AC pump compressor back in. And I want to work out whether I need to put that big bracket on first, or can I put the AC down there first. Right, let's just try popping that down there first. Do we have enough room to put that bolt in there? I think we should do. Right, we're 99% of the way back together now. Need to see if I can get this on without too much trouble, and that was rather easy for a change. Now, did I screw in this properly? I can't see it now. No, I didn't. Luckily, it's sprung into position, which is just where I want it. And now this should pull and tension the belt up. There we go. So first stage complete, she's up, she's running, battery's charging, we've got no warning lights on the dash apart from that airbag warning light, which I can't remember if I told you or not. So the airbag light is on, and the reason it's on is there's no airbag unit installed. So we've had to order another one of those to try and get that sorted. But now, when we're in the car and we brake, we don't get an ABS warning light and the battery light doesn't flicker anymore. Still no warning lights on the dash. Power delivery's nice and smooth. One thing I've got to sort out, I can hear the brake guard rubbing against the caliper when you turn left. So that's one thing I'm going to sort out when it comes back from paint. But I'd say, other than needing yet more fuel and the airbag warning light on, I think we've done a pretty good job on getting all this work done so fast. And now let's just wave bye-bye to it for a few weeks while it gets some paintwork done. See you in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe.